Dude, we've been ready. You guys ready? Welcome to the podcast, ACA podcast cast. That's right, we doing the podcast. You listening to a podcast. Nice. Yeah, you guys, this is a new podcast for us. We're wearing headphones, and Mike and I can't get over everything that you can hear.
There's a lot of different sounds.
Nice. So we'll probably do an intermission where we play a little samba.
Yeah,
for you
that'd
guys.
be good.
If I can get the clave pattern down.
1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3.
Just like that. It feels so weird getting back into this. It's been a while.
It's been almost a month.
It's been a month. Our last podcast.
But we're back.
But we're back, baby. It's like when Rick Moranis got punched in the face in New York City. Bill Burr went on the late night show and said, "We're back! New York City's back, baby!" That's what I feel like. I feel like we just punched Rick Moranis in the face. You know?
I don't know Rick Moranis.
The guy from Honey, We Shrunk the Kids.
Curly hair,
Yeah.
red glasses.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. Well, you made it back. Well, you're back, man. We both took vacations.
Yep.
You took a vacation. I took a vacation. Leon has been working this entire time. Hasn't stopped to take a vacation. But why don't you tell the people what you did with your time, Mike?
So yeah, we went on a family trip. It was a little family reunion, but also a creative pilgrimage where I leave to do nothing creative.
Awesome.
Instead, I've spent my time with my wife and my daughter and fishing.
What kind of fish?
That I catch.
Yeah.
It's a mix. So there's we're fishing off the shore of New Smyrna Beach, surf fishing, and we caught catfish, spotted grunter, which I did not know what it was, and I let it go, and I should have kept it. Like I could have eaten that. And I was like, I don't know what this is. It might be illegal. If I keep it, I'm just put it back, which is always a good protocol to have. Like if you don't know, just let it go. Caught some whiting that are usually I would keep them as like bait fish, small bait fish, but they were bigger. And they're good eating. They're like a white meat fish that you can cook up. So I kept one to eat just so I could do a catch and cook. And then the other one I saved is shark bait.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the last 2 nights of our trip was like a 7-day trip. We did some nighttime shark fishing.
And did you catch the shark?
Which story do you want to hear?
I want to hear the one where you caught one and you reeled it back in, and it's in the back on of your car on ice, so we can have it tonight.
So neither shark that was on the line I kept. So it was catch and release. The first night was 4th of July, so I want to take you to this place. It's dusk. It's getting dark. People are coming out onto the beach, setting up their fireworks, and they're starting to shoot them off.
Yeah.
And so I'm out there with a fish head on a big hook with, steel leader or stainless steel leader. And I don't think it's stainless steel leader, but it's metal leader.
Sure.
And wading out into the water, like chest deep and casting as far as I can. And fireworks are going off, and it's just like a situation that I didn't imagine that I would be in.
So American.
It was just really cool. So then while they're shooting off fireworks on the beach, it's like, well, I got to get a picture of this. So I started staging photos of me trying to pull it.
Like every influencer. Sure.
I watched the guy about to shoot off a big firework, and I'd all right, and go, and we try to take a picture of that. We got one. It was okay.
Good. I can't wait to see it.
That night, I didn't catch the shark. It was maybe an hour and a half went by, and all of a sudden, it hit my line, and it took the pole and ripped it out of the pole holder into the water, and I had to run into the waves and grab it and pull it back. And by the time I had it, I had the drag too tight on the line, and it snapped. Second day, I was because that happened, and I was okay, I can't be unsuccessful. I have to at least make a better attempt.
Sure. At catching a shark.
Yeah.
Sure. Some people don't even try to make an attempt and they catch a shark through their calf.
I did wait till the end of our vacation so that no one would have to like swim in the water the next day.
How thoughtful of you.
Yeah. The second day or second night, which was our last night there, same. I had a whiting fish head, just trimmed the meat off and had the fish head on a big hook, cast it out. 30 minutes goes by, there's nothing. So I have to reel it back in to check to make sure like crabs don't get it or like, the bait is still there.
Yeah.
The first cast is no big deal. You wade out there into chest deep water at dusk and it's a little nerve wracking, but like, it's okay. And it's the second cast where like the fish has been sitting out in the water for 30 minutes, like spreading its scent in the area. And now I got to go back out there.
And did you hear,
No, I can tell you though, I had to go back and recast 3 times on this line. And each time I had to go back out, I came back faster and the casts got worse.
And that's because you've already have dead fish out there.
Yeah.
And because it's been lingering, you've been attracting sharks now for quite some time.
Yeah, like they're there already, and I'm like calling them in.
Literally,
And every time I recast, like I'm out in chest deep water, and it's like I cast it as fast as I can and get back up, and each one happens faster and faster. And in my mind, I'm like, there was one time I went to go cast, and it was just a bad cast, and I had to reel it back in chest deep water. I had to reel it back and be like, oh my god, I have to go again. And I just as quickly as I could got it further out. And like, I'm walking back to shore, letting line out as I'm coming in. And as soon as I get to like knee deep, I just start running.
Sure.
I was like, all right,
that's the natural thing to do. And meanwhile, you're doing all this, and there is just over the news, it just looks like there's mayhem happening in Florida waters and Texas waters. Shark attack here, shark attack there. People losing limbs.
Those days that were I didn't know that until after.
That's probably for the better.
Yeah, there was like a shark attack at noon that day, and I was fishing probably at 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Nice.
But at third cast, bait's out there.
Yeah.
And something hits the line, thump, 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 thump. Zzz, it starts running. And I have the drag set correctly this time.
Yeah.
So it's like a 15, 20 minute little fight that I have with the shark. I get him all the way up to the shore and see him. It's like a 5 foot, the fisherman's tail. It's a 6 foot shark. It's probably like a 5 foot shark, which is big. For me, that's a big shark. Like when I catch a shark in the past, it's like 2 feet, 3 feet.
Sure.
So we got him up, and then I tried to turn him. And it put too much stress on the line. Like I didn't wait till the wave came to try to turn him. I was, just making a bad mistake, rookie mistake. When I went to turn him, he broke off the line. It was like 4 feet in front of me.
Jesus.
So
shark fishing on your spare time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure if it counts as a win, but I did have him up there, and it was like that close to me, and like it was a long fight. The next morning, I wake up. I'm walking through the parking lot, packing up the car, and somebody stops me. This guy stops me in the parking lot. He's like, hey, man, I just want you to know I was on the balcony last night. I saw you catch the shark, and that was awesome. And you need to know it counts. And that was it. That's all I needed. I was like, yes, okay.
That's all you needed. Just one guy, one dad in the back to be like,
counts.
Counts. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Well, that's good, man.
Yeah.
I like that you did something, stepped away from your craft, and it did something that had contact with reality, shark fishing. There's nothing more than that.
Yep. And my daughter caught her first fish. Got to plug that too.
That's really sweet.
I put she has like a little kids fishing pole. It's a real pole. It's just small. And I put like a fake artificial sand flea bait, and I casted it out kind of as a joke, like, let her fish too, like see if she likes the experience of like passing time. And she caught a fish.
That's so cute.
She caught the first fish of the weekend. She outfished me like the first 3 days because I didn't really try hard.
That's so wholesome.
And she was taking me to school, so it was really cool.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry.
Well, Michael, you got to let the emotional vault open once in a while, especially when your daughter catches her first fish.
She was hyping. She was like, I caught my first fish. I can't wait to catch my second fish.
That brings me. So I was on vacation too. I was in Colorado, and I saw a dad teaching his son how to ride a bike for the first time.
Oh,
And his son got up, and I started crying.
okay, maybe I should have cried.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's good that you got a good break of it.
What took you to Colorado?
Again, I was kind of looking for the same thing. I wanted a pilgrimage to kind of get away from everything and be in nature. I went hiking. I saw my favorite band at Red Rock, Kaleo. They crushed.
From Iceland.
From Iceland, exactly.
Yeah.
Iceland. Second time it's come up on this podcast. They were almost too good. You know what I mean by that?
No.
They were so tight, so connected, put together. It was too polished. And for the music that they play, I was like,
You wanted it to be more
little
rustic?
yeah, I wanted some mistakes. I wanted something, I wanted just something, I guess organic. And it was because it was live. But dude, it was just, every song sounded exactly like the record that I was like, taken out of it. Which is weird, right?
It depends on the band, right? Like if you're seeing a jam band, like Dave Matthews Band,
sure,
it's not going to sound like the record.
No.
But they're not that. They're not extending phrases.
They're not that. No, exactly. Which sounds like a very Icelandic thing to do. But they were amazing. They're amazing.
I definitely want to know more about this trip. But real quick, can we backtrack? You said it's a very Icelandic thing to do. Just want to know what you mean by that.
You want me to flesh that out right now? You want me to go deeper into why it's Icelandic?
Just a little bit. Give us one sentence.
I just feel... Well, no, it's fine. I guess I could do this. It just feels so vanilla.
Get out of here. Iceland is not vanilla.
It was a little vanilla.
It's the most interesting place on the planet. All right, let's get out of that. All right.
But does it surprise you that they played the set exactly like the record? Because if they're from Iceland, does that surprise you at all?
No, that's one of the things that I hope for. Oh,
okay. All right. No, I get that. There's two schools of thoughts here. There's people that want to be surprised by what are we going to do with this live? And then there's people that's like, just
I love the song. Play me the song.
Give me the framework of the song that I loved in my car. Give it to me live. I made it to Chicago and I went to go see some improv comedy because Chicago's known for two things: for sloppy, nasty, filthy hot dogs that I love to shove down my gullet, and then improv comedy for me at least. Yeah. I love. Have you ever heard of Second City?
No, is that a Chicago club?
Yeah, it's a Chicago improv comedy. It's more than a club, man. It's been around, I think, since like the 50s. And they've been doing improv comedy. They're responsible for a lot of the talent on SNL. I mean, you go to the bathroom and you see pictures on the wall of like Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Dan Aykroyd. Did I say him already?
Yeah. It's just like a historical hub.
Oh my gosh.
Of comedians.
Everyone. Stephen Colbert. Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert used to have a show there called The Stevens, where they would dress up in like suits and they do some improv. But anyway, I went there to go see on a Monday night, not even packed at all. Just, what kind of house is this? What am I going to see, on a Monday night in Chicago? And they did not disappoint. It was just so tight and funny and what's the word?
Vanilla.
No, come on. They're not in Iceland. They were so good, man. It was so good for a Monday night, which I think says something about how talented someone on stage can be. If they can get you out of your seat on a Monday night.
So is this like a local bill on a Monday night?
It's like well, I think it was their touring company. I could be wrong about that, but these were just some expert improvers. They had this one bit, my favorite bit, because I had to take so many flights in all these Boeing planes that are blowing up in the sky, apparently. They had a bit where this is the kind of sketch comedy they would do, right? Lights would go down, lights go up, and it'd be like an interview setting. And it'd be like one guy interviewing me, he's like saying, "So you're telling me you're not good with your hands?" And the other guy goes, "I'm even worse with my brain." The guy looks at him and goes, "Perfect. Welcome to Boeing." And lights go down. I was like,
they're quick, like one hitters.
Oh, yeah, dude, the whole show is like that. And then a lot of the performers, they write their own bits. They go up there, they take a huge swing and a risk, falls flat, but they keep going. And it was so fun to watch. I'm so happy. And it made me realize that I need some more what's the word? Comes out of nowhere, laughter, a spontaneous laughter in my life. Spontaneous laughter. It was so good. So that stuff, I mean, I went from that to a wedding and then to Colorado, and I was off to the races. I had a great time.
What was Colorado like?
Oh, mountainous. Hot. Really hot.
Really?
I didn't realize that. Yeah, in the summer. It's
I
awful.
picture Colorado. I've never been there. I would just picture it to be cold.
No, yeah, it is cold. Does get cold, but hot and excuse me. This is as I mentioned, this is the first time we're on headphones and I can hear my own thoughts. Yeah, there it is. We play the gong. If I'm telling a boring story, Mike's just gonna go, and that means I have 5 more seconds to wrap it up. Yeah, man. I can tell I'm getting older. I'll leave this and then we'll transition to some current events. But one thing I realized, and that happened to me in Colorado, that's a marker of me getting old, is altitude sickness.
Oh,
you ever been in altitude? Probably in Iceland, right?
I mean, yeah, but I never noticed. I'm sure that it happened and I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you start to get old, you start to feel things in altitude. I was out of breath crossing the street.
Oh, yeah. Was that altitude sickness or is that just
I don't know if
the
it's altitude sickness. I think it's the altitude. It just affected me differently this time.
Yeah, the air's thinner and
my nose was bleeding. Like I was in the shower and I was touching my nose and I was like, why is there blood coming out? Oh, it was the cocaine from the night before. No, it was legitimately from the altitude. It was just my nose is bleeding. I was like,
drier, thinner air affecting you.
Kind of bums me out because I want to end up in Colorado at some point, but
I'm sure you get acclimated to it.
It was a week and a half that Mike.
I think it takes 21 days to...
Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah,
it's 21 days.
I'm making that up, but
that's fair.
21 days sounds good.
Either way, I'm not built like I used to be for altitude, which is pretty soft in my opinion.
It's not the old thing though. You thought you're getting older.
Yeah.
It's just the air.
It's just air. It's just air. All right. Well, let's hop into some current events. Listen here, listener. We're doing something a little different today. We're gonna pop off on some current events that Mike and I are gonna look at and talk about with Leon and discuss because there's a lot of interesting things happening, and I want to kind of paint a narrative for you people. By you people, I mean actors, directors, writers, crew that's in the industry. Things are looking pretty grim. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but streamers are cutting original shows by, okay, that's 5 seconds. I already have 5 seconds.
Listen, this is what happened. I was over here minding my own business while you were giving the intro to the segment, tighten the cap, and I went to place it, and it just happened to.
I thought for sure you're like, I'm already over this new part of that bit thing. Get the fuck out of here.
No, please.
No, but yeah, no. Streamers are cutting original shows and by a substantial margin. I think overall, 19% across of all 8 major streamers are cutting original shows.
When you say cutting original show, like it's like on Netflix, when they have like the film and it says made by Netflix.
Yes,
like they're cutting those.
Yeah, so,
shows or movies or
good point. So, Leon, can you scroll down really quick? I want to show. There's a graph right here that'll show you. So yeah, so right here, streamers are cutting original shows. So you'll see that Netflix has kind of kept the same amount, and so has Max. But Disney Plus and Peacock, they've drastically cut the amount of original show content, and it is movies, it is TV shows.
So it's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the problem is these streamers are trying to figure out how to become profitable. Netflix is crushing it right now. Netflix is really operating at a positive cash flow, but everybody else, the next person in line is barely meeting the black line, which is kind of crazy because think about how much content they pump out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that half the problem for me as a customer or consumer,
sure,
is that the market is so flooded that I'm not as interested. There'll be like key things that come out. Like I think there's I can't remember the name of it. Masters of the Air on Apple TV.
Yeah.
I just on a plane, I caught a couple episodes of that. but I don't have access to Apple TV. You know, and I'm
How
not going
do
to
you
invest
guys-
it because there's like 7. How many different streaming platforms are there?
These are the top 8 right here, and it's like heavily skews towards Netflix, and then it's a kind of it's a battle, and then Peacock at the bottom. How do you guys decide to watch something on it? Like, first of all, what streaming service do you click on first? Do you have one that you automatically go to? And if you do go to that one, how do you decide what you're going to actually pick to watch?
It has to be, I don't know. We have Netflix and HBO, and then Prime Video, I think, by default.
Okay.
And I think I normally will go to HBO first because it has stuff on there like popular TV, House of Dragons going on right now.
Sure.
So like while that season is starting, I'm on that, and it's also Shark Week. So I think they have they merged.
Can't miss that, can we, Mike?
I can't miss Shark Week. They merged with the Discovery Channel. Like they went from HBO
Yeah.
Max to Max because it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And Discovery.
Yeah.
So like that content's on there right now. So like I guess it depends on the season or the time of year.
Interesting.
Like we're more into Max right now because that show is on and Shark Week is on and like those things are available.
Sure.
Then when we're not in those seasons, like it might be like, you know, or maybe earlier in the summer, Prime Video because new movies are coming out and you can just, instead of paying $50 to take my family to the theater, I can just buy the movie early for $24.
Sure. And so that's a problem. You bring up a really interesting point. So a problem is, for survival's sake, they're starting to acquire other studios. So that's why the Discovery Max thing happened. Because they're like, we need help. We need to kind of diversify here. But yeah, everyone's kind of figuring it out as they go. I mean, Leon, are you like watching streaming content like on Netflix and stuff and like Disney Plus?
Yeah, I have all these between me and my family.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay. All 8. Damn.
I think sometimes we have too much variety, and you end up searching for like 20 minutes, and then you're already ate your food already. Your food's cold, and you're like, I wouldn't say that there's one that I would just go to automatically. I would start with. I know which ones, if I'm trying to watch something right now, I know which ones not to go to.
Whoa. Ooh, the streaming, they would like to know that probably. They would like to know which ones you do not go to. 100%. Jeez.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I watch all of them, but I know, Apple TV is not going to have something quick. They do have good shows, but
Right.
I'm not going to be able to go there really quick and pick something because it's something I'm going to have to devote some time to,
100%.
Maybe I'll start with Netflix. Hulu has pretty much a big variety because it's a lot of, normal TV. And then Max has probably the newest releases, so somewhere around there.
So if you can scroll up. So here's the, scroll up really quick. Right there. So the problem with all these streaming services, not only are they reducing the amount of content that they're putting out, they're not making any money. They now have to, part of the reason that they're not making any money is because they have to pay royalties to these to use these other TV shows. So some of your favorite TV shows, if no one's watching it, so people watch Seinfeld.
Everybody
watch
loves
The Office.
Raymond. I don't know what streaming service is on right now, but I love that show and I can't get access to it.
That's the thing. They're not going to pay for Everybody Loves Raymond, even though I love his last name. They're going to, a little late on that. Barely a chuckle out of Leon. That's not, you guys, it's like gold over here. Romano. But like, so HBO canceled Westworld last fall, despite its solid ratings and 9 Emmy wins. It's just too expensive to hold it.
Did you watch the last season?
I watched the first 2 seasons and I loved that show. And
How
it's
many-
like
how many
crazy to think that they
seasons?
took it off.
How many were there?
Oh, I don't know. A couple? 4?
3 or 4, whatever the last one was, though, it wasn't good. Maybe that's because they knew they were getting cut
Maybe.
and they had to force things. I don't know.
But regardless, that's a really notable show for Max. And like they've differentiated themselves from other streaming services, Max being like the quality focused one and
But-
Netflix having all of them.
don't they own that? Like Westworld is an HBO show.
I don't know. I think maybe.
I thought it
Maybe.
was an HBO like House of Dragon or Succession.
Mm-hmm.
All those shows I believe, could be wrong, are HBO shows.
It could be.
So who would they? Well, this was maybe a question that I don't know the answer to, but like, wouldn't they own the rights to that show, so they'd have to pay themselves?
Not all of them. So Max does a lot with A24, and this could be an A24 produced series, and then they just put the Max, kind of like how Netflix will buy films and TV series, and then just slap Netflix original on top of it, and then upload it and be like,
Yeah.
I say upload it like it's so like they just put it in the thumb drive.
Hey man, it might be.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it's at, and it's kind of looking grim because they don't. I guess the big picture I'm trying to paint here is they don't know how to make money yet. It seems like they're relying a lot on merch. They're flirting with the idea of putting ads in there. You know, you have to pay more to get rid of ads.
That's going to be that'll probably work, and that's going to be the moment that we'd likely cancel our subscriptions.
I mean, Netflix already does it. There's a cheaper Netflix where you get the commercials, and there are some of these that they're cheaper, just like with Hulu.
They already raised the price, and I just haven't looked at the bill yet. Then that's what's going on there.
Don't, Mike, don't. Yeah, I didn't know that. So they Netflix does that because I pay for the Netflix.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I pay for the Netflix. That's crazy. So they're trying to figure out how to make money. It doesn't seem like anyone's doing great. So after Netflix, I think in second is Disney Plus because, well, it's the Walt Disney World Company and we have all the money in the world. Or it might be somebody else in there. But after that, it's a huge drop off. Everyone's just trying to fight off. I did it to myself.
Wrap it up.
Basically, you know what? We spent too much time on this. Everyone's just trying to figure out how to get out of the red on that. So, yeah. What's next? What else we got?
Can we real quick I want to do a little temperature check with streaming. Like if you're watching a movie, are y'all pause and walk away people, or do you need to finish the film?
I have to finish it. So what's the director's intent was?
It depends on what it is.
Leon, come on.
Yeah, my guy.
Starts the opening credits, walks away.
It depends on what it is because like I got catfished by Lost. I'm pretty sure all of us did. So I'm watching it. I got to wake up early in the morning. I finish this episode, and it's like, man, I got to watch this next one. I can't go to sleep, man.
No.
Yeah, I watched Lost. That's the only thing I watched for a month and a half, and I finished it in a month and a half.
Did you really? There's like 8 seasons of that.
There's over 100 episodes, and they're hour each. Yeah. So it was
burned through it.
It was crazy.
Like if I'm watching a movie, let's say it's a 2-hour movie, I could hit the halfway point and press pause and walk away, and then come back 2 days later and be like, okay, I'm in. Like, but I can get right back to it. You know what I mean? It's not like I lose anything. But Lindsay hates when I do. Like, she wants to commit. Like, if we're gonna watch this 2-hour thing, then we're gonna watch it all the way through. And if we don't have the time to watch it all the way through, let's not even watch it.
Bums me out because it's the director's intent, Michael, for you to watch the whole thing. Which brings me to scroll down really quick. I just want to touch on this because this is really exciting. All the way to number 4. Boom. Gladiator 2's coming out. Trailer just released in July. Ridley Scott dropped 20 years ago. He dropped the first Gladiator. You guys all seen this, right?
It's one of the greatest movies of all time.
Of all time. Ridley Scott. So is this a movie that you're going to, maybe pause and then go, maybe go walk your dog and then come back and then watch gladiators clash inside the Coliseum?
No, we'll probably see this one in theaters.
This is a movie to see in theaters.
Yeah.
This is a movie to see in theaters. And I just wanted to show, I really just picked this just because I want to see how good Denzel looks. Just scroll up so I can look at Denzel one time. God damn.
Have you watched the trailer?
God. Yeah. It's been getting a little bit of bad people. Fuck the internet. Sorry.
I watched.
I said it already.
So I found out they were making it, and I don't know what it is. I have a problem when you just slap the number 2 at the end of something. I don't love that. Like I definitely want things to have their own voice and vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Gladiator 2 and I was like, I don't know. And I look at the casting and I was like, I'm not going to be into this. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh no, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's great. It looks great.
It does look great. And it's an epic. Like Ridley Scott does not fail when it comes to watching a beautiful cinematic masterpiece. It's just the expanse of it. Like, and you're so right. You have to see this thing in theaters. But yeah, I'm really jazzed up for this. And you bring up a good point. So Gladiator 2, they put the number 2 in it. I wish they would have put a title like Gladiator, Revenge of
I don't know. Gladiator, Revenge of the Mummy.
The Mummy, you know. But like you bring up a good point. So there, if you scroll all the way down, there's all the way down to the next page, next page, all the way down. So yeah, box offices have been struggling. And all the way, because of the criticism of the lack of originality, go down a little bit further. Sorry, listener, we're trying something new on this one. Right there, boom. Look at how many movies that are either a sequel, have the number 2 or a numerical number inside of them. Over 50% of box office hits, I think even more than that, are in the top 10 movies are like sequels. So you have like all the ones that are in the orange, which if you're listening to this, it's hard to describe, but 31 movies from 2019 to 2024 were all sequels that were big hits.
I'm over it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, no, there's no. The criticism is that they don't like to take risks.
Let me be clear. We still go to we went to the movies twice this week.
Did you?
Like Lindsay took our daughter to go see the new Minions movie.
Yeah.
Today, like in the afternoon, and then I took both of them to see, what is it, Inside Out 2?
That's actually the story right ahead of this. Yeah.
Which they also slapped the 2 on there. That didn't bother me as much for some reason. Maybe it's just because Gladiator is such a prolific movie.
Yeah.
But Inside Out 2 is great.
But it's just so there's something to that. And I want to ask you, because as a parent, right now, those films are what's saving the movie theater industry, the film industry, are these animated films for families.
And their sequels, like exactly what you were just talking about.
Exactly. So they're building upon a brand. And like, is it hard to entertain kids? Is it like, is that what now like movies are becoming? It's like, it's something for parents to entertain kids and take them.
Yeah, no, because we still go if there's like a date night or we'll try to plan those every so often too. I'm trying to think of there's a movie coming out that we don't have plans to see yet, but we want to see it in theaters called something about bikers.
Gosh, the name of it is so like bland.
It's a motorcycle movie.
Yeah, Bike Riders. I think it's what it's called.
Austin Butler and Tom Hardy.
It's the second movie you've brought up of Austin Butler, and I'm going to start pushing on that. You love him, don't you?
What was the first one?
In the Sky. The Apple.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Masters of the Air.
Yeah. He's just doing Elvis in all these different movies.
It's great.
Hey, baby.
He does it well.
Yeah. Take down this Nazi.
Yeah. So we're going to go see that. Like, we're seeing stuff outside of kids' movies, but if you're looking at how it's weighted, we're definitely seeing more of the children's stuff than like date night stuff.
Dude, it's crushing. The kid stuff is crushing. And I've never been one for animated films. I don't know. It's hard for me to suspend disbelief on a cartoon, but
what's more about the experience? Like it's not that I want to take her to the theater to see this movie in the theater. I want her to experience the theater. Like we go to the theater and it's an event and you get popcorn and a water, and like you go in and you watch the movie, and you like maybe you got a little candy too. You can share your candy with with your kids.
It does. I mean,
it's an experience.
It does, and I just want to go back to the point of like how sequels and movies, and how we're doing more sequels now than ever. So from 1995 to 2000, 7 movies were sequels in theaters that were regarded as top 10 movies of the year. From 2019 to 2024, it's 31. So it's like over half of the movies that we go out to see now are almost always sequels. So they're putting up money to make sequels. So you need to have, if you have a hit now, that you're a director or a writer and you have a huge hit, you're almost guaranteed that a studio will look at you for another movie.
What about this though? What if? Because I'm looking at the chart now, right?
Yeah.
What if it was harder to make movies back then as rapid as they're coming out now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're looking from 95 to 2000 and then this big block now,
Yeah.
there's something that's happening in the middle. And
Yeah.
That's CGI.
CGI
what
did
I'm
come
saying?
in there. Yeah.
So I think it would be easier to make a sequel now because if the couple scenes were CGI and then, the sequel or something, you can pop that scene right back in
Yeah.
and also try to,
There's a point there.
Jurassic Park would be the example there, right? Because it was all puppetry for the most part. It was all puppetry. And then now when they're popping out the sequels, it's all CGI.
You say that, but also
everything's computers now, and it's easier.
right. Yes. Sequels. CGI has made it much easier to give sequels to things. But I also think CGI has made movies. Maybe I guess it's kind of added a whole new. It's a tool that's made movies a little bit more expanseful. I guess more. I don't know what the word I'm trying to say there, but the fact that you can make Avatar and it's taken him another 10 years to make an Avatar 2, it's like that argument doesn't necessarily work for that. But I do know what you're saying, that Jurassic Park and The Lost World, like he got to introduce technology to that. So he can now make a sequel quicker, which, but so what this makes me realize is that they're getting stingier on what movies they decide to greenlight, which goes back to my original point. Now that streamers are getting stingier about what content they're going to greenlight, the movie business is getting.
We're only going to fund things that we already know were successful before.
I'm getting to a point here.
The ROI.
It's becoming very difficult to make money as an artist in the film and television business. It's getting more difficult. And we haven't even talked about the elephant in the room. AI.
Well, before we get into AI,
No, we don't have to.
You
I
know-
don't really want to, actually. It's going to bum me out.
do you know who's doing new content well, at least for me right now?
I was going to guess something stupid, but no.
A24.
Okay. Yeah.
They're still doing it good.
They're still doing good. Their business model was, we just put out as many movies as possible and pick like anything, and we'll have a couple of hits just based off of our sample size. We'll have a couple of hits, and they're right. They will. But I hope, this used to be my theory, but I don't think that this is going to go this route. But A24 has never been more popular, and they just got funding. Like they did the funding round where they were trying to raise money, and some rich guy came in and gave them millions of dollars, like tens of millions of dollars during this time. So you can imagine, as an investor, movie business doesn't look too profitable right now, unless you're making animated films. But the second animated film in a series, right? Yeah. But A24 got like tens of millions of dollars. So I've always had this theory, and this is wishful thinking. I just want the movies to go back to like indie. I want there to be a renaissance of just weird, groundbreaking, risk-taking films on directors you don't even know about, that cast comedians from the 90s to play dramatic characters in weird alleyways dealing whatever, a watch or something. I don't know what but you see what I'm getting at? I just want a renaissance of like indie films to come back.
You want to see Lindsay Lohan in a dramatic role in an A24 film.
I want to see Steve Martin with a gambling addiction.
Yeah.
In the Key West. And at the end of the movie, he kills a prostitute. That's what I want to see.
They got a Netflix original. It's called Bloodline. Sounds eerily like that.
I watched the hell out of that season.
That's a good season.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess I'm painting this picture. It's a little grim right now, but there is good news. Go to the second page. I added this all the way up. I kind of added this because I didn't know how I would feel about this. Yes, right there. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think. So I don't know anything about Six Flags or Cedar Fair. Do you guys know anything about Six Flags, Cedar Fair?
All I know is
I've heard of them.
You've just heard of them, right?
It's a theme park.
They're theme parks.
roller coaster theme parks?
100%. I don't know what Cedar Fair is known for. So if you're listening, please message me, let me know, because I'm not going to do the research because I've already done enough. But Six Flags, I went to a Six Flags a lot when I was a lot younger, a long time ago. And I just remember thinking this. It feels like the kind of company that buy already, dude.
It's the same.
I'm trying to enlighten people about the industry.
Man.
So I went to Six Flags a long time ago, and I remember having this thought as a kid. It seems like the kind of place that buys used theme parks and adds long roller coasters, charges more for funnel cake, and then sends the Peanuts characters to go meet and greet. Which you know the Peanuts characters, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a little low quality. Is that fair to say? All right, that's kind of my take on it.
You're looking at like you're comparing Six Flags and Cedar Fair to Universal and Disney.
Not Cedar Fair. No, they actually don't they can't hold a candle to either of those.
That's what I guess. That's what I'm saying. You're saying like the quality or the standard is a lower bar.
100%. But what's interesting is that they've decided to merge this year. And Six Flags and Cedar Fair. And just to give context, Cedar Fair has half the theme parks that Six Flags does, but they do more in revenue and more in attendance. So
because they have half the amount.
Because they have half the amount?
I mean, what if they had 30 parks?
Well, you would think that they would have, if they had the same amount of parks, you would think that they would have more attendance.
We have to stop. Can we look up Cedar Fair and see what?
Yeah, can you look up?
We should know what they do.
Yeah,
before
we're talking all this trash about Cedar Fair. No, but Cedar Fair. What I was saying, Cedar Fair has half the theme parks that Six Flags does, but Cedar Fair does more in revenue and has a higher attendance.
It seems like it's going to be a roller coaster place.
I don't know. I think they do Nosberry. Is that what that's called? Out in California. Cedar Fair Entertainment Group. Let me see some pictures, man. Ooh, I would not ride that. I would not.
We're not going to give any visual context.
I'm going to. I'm going to have to. This is
roller coasters and things, man.
Is that a roller? Yeah, that looks like a roller coaster. What is that on the
Six Flags is like that too. It's because they're like where maybe
these are other properties.
That's right there. Damn.
Where other parks are focused on film and movie and cinema and character, like these are like, no, we're grinding on roller coasters.
I love how you said grinding.
Yeah.
I'm sure they use that in board meetings. Like, we need to fucking grind out these roller coasters. These people need to get out there. No, but so Cedar Fairs has half the amount of parks as Six Flags, but they do more in revenue and more in attendance. But now which I think is saying something. This is probably a win for Six Flags. When Six Flags is the winner in this acquisition. But I guess what this shows me, and the lighter picture I'm trying to tell you, is that one, Six Flags just survived a little bit longer. But also with the expansion of Epic Universe and Six Flags and Cedar Fair merging together, there's money being poured into theme parks and entertainment. Take that back. There's more in experiences. So as the film and television and streaming business is pulling back because they don't know how to make money anymore because things have changed so much, in the same light, they're turning to these experiences that they've proven to make money because year over year, the amount of people who are going to theme parks is only increasing, and it's increasing drastically. Magic Kingdom just hit pre-pandemic levels of attendance. That's like the #1 visited park in the world. So I guess what I'm saying is that although there's a business over here that seems to be going through a massive rough patch, there could be some more opportunity and light on the other side. But it's an experience-driven domain as opposed to...
To me, it's because the world needs performance. Like it needs storytelling. And so if that medium is not doing as well, and you're saying that this other medium is now rising because of it, it just is a testament to the importance of story and performance.
Yeah.
Like doesn't matter if something's even if theme parks and entertainment, if that started to dwindle, something else would pop up. Like Broadway would start changing, and
That's
you know what I mean. Like people need it. It's human nature to pass down story. I mean, that's like what it means to be human is to pass down these stories.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think humans are always longing for story. That's how we make sense of the world, through story. We tell ourselves a story. Whether you're religious or not, it's a story, you know, and it's how we live our lives. It's how we orient ourselves in the world. And amusement parks is a great way to embed yourself in a story. And as the corporate America struggles to find ways to make money off of telling stories, these companies are doubling down and they're combining and they're trying to reinvent themselves to make a better product for us to tell stories.
Immersive stories and experiences.
Immersive stories and experiences. I think that's the future. I had a director at Star Cruiser who really much believed in that and convinced me of that. And I think that's true. I think the future is immersive. I think it's, but it's got to be done well to be life-changing. You can't I don't know why I thought of this. I thought of this is so dumb. A Compton immersive event where you walk in and it's like what's his name? God, this is so stupid. I'm going to bail on this bit. No, we're walking through it. No, we're going through it. You walk in, it's like, they not like us. They not like us. And it's just like actors who are clearly in Compton that just, no, dude, I'm staying in it. No, but I do think that the future is immersive. And I think storytelling that'll always be around.
So do you think that you're looking at the economics of amusement parks and I don't want to say failure of cinema because it's not failure, but
it's not doing well.
It's not doing great.
For your context really quick, January, they haven't had a year that bad in the movies since 20 years ago.
Do you think that it will even itself out in the future? And how long do you think it'll take to get there? Meaning if right now the theme park stuff is developing and will be at an all-time high or moving towards an all-time high, and streaming is becoming less profitable and it's moving down, and the film industry is becoming less profitable and moving down, how long before people grow tired of the theme park experience and then shift back towards film and cinema and streaming?
I don't know.
Is it like a 10-year curve or,
Yeah, right. If I was an economist, I'd be full of shit and I tell you, you got 10 years. But I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, man. But it is just interesting. It may be something to do with bouncing back from the pandemic. Maybe,
it's money, man.
And money too. But people, what's not cheap is going to an amusement park.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I did pulled up a ticket price of Digging the Magic Kingdom. It's $1.75. 1 day.
1 day.
1 day.
The most visited theme park in the world. 1 day is $175 to get you in there.
Yeah, and their most expensive annual pass is $1,500.
I wonder if there's got to be a metric too of food costs once you're in there.
Yeah, I mean,
we talk about this all the time. Him and I talk about margins on food all the time.
I wonder which Cedar Park or the local parks we have here, who's got the highest.
You know what? They actually have that statistic in there if you want to go look and roll down.
No, you put it in there.
I do. I do.
You did good research.
So right there, Six Flags standalone company, blah, 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 blah. It makes an average guest revenue of $61 off of each person. Mm-hmm. So each person that goes in there, they make $61 with $33 comes from admission, $28 from food, merchandise, and extras. So we got to get them in there and we got to make sure that they buy wands or something.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, but that's depending on how big your company is, that's not enough to sustain. Not at
Six
all.
Flags, right?
Not at all.
So Cedar Fair is going to come in and be like, I don't know how they are so profitable with what they do, but yeah, it's expensive to go to the theme parks, but So I think it's expensive to go to the theme parks. People, I guess it really, people aren't going to the movies as much. So I don't know.
So the thing that's going to make the, seems like the thing that's going to make the theme park stuff unsustainable for the future is going to be cost. Like right now, streaming costs more than the streaming companies are making. And so they're raising prices on people, and people are starting to leave that and go more towards live entertainment.
Yeah.
And now those costs are going to go up, and eventually it'll reach a threshold where we leave that.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be, I mean, but so much has changed too from the pandemic. Like, I feel like how people, like consumers' tastes and stuff, like what people want. It's hard to imagine what it's going to look like in the future, man. But I say all this in hopes of things getting better for artists and for directors and writers and people in crew, because it just to bet on the film and television industry right now is very tough. My agent has a meeting set up with a casting director in New York with a bunch of her talent. And we get to submit some questions and stuff. And so I'm writing a lot of these questions for her that I'm just going to flesh out from her perspective, from a casting perspective, because it's never been harder to work as an actor than it is right now.
What's like an example of it? You don't have to give an actual question.
Sure.
But what's an example of a question that
And
you're setting
I'm
up?
glad that we're talking about this now, because I still have to craft them and they're due tomorrow.
This doesn't come out till a little bit later. So
Yeah. So I want to ask a question about how streamers are greenlighting and creating less projects now more than ever. Pilot season for cable, non-existent anymore. Less and less cable networks are greenlighting or even going for pilot season. Films, less and less. They're willing to take less risks on films, which means that if you're going to put a film, you're going to put a name in it to get even money out there. So I'm giving tons of context on this question for this casting director, so she knows where I'm coming from. So for us that are like still trying to curate and create a resume, a body of work with a bunch of co-star roles or guest star roles, where do we go? How do we break it? How do we break, pop off, I kind of hope that she can give some, I mean, I don't think she can really answer that. I don't think she has the answer, but I just want to hear her perspective on talent, new talent coming in, breaking in the ranks and trying to break in through that. And I'm speaking from an actor's perspective. It is an awful time to be a director. It's like, they're only going to take chances on people unless, you have a production company like A24 who actively looks for new people. But
right, if you're big budget, you're probably looking for Ridley Scott.
yeah. God, you are, dude. Absolutely. That is the guy who's James Cameron, Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So anyway, it's a little grim. That's all. Just bums me out a little bit. But I try to bring a little light to this. I wanted to balance it out and say, as though it may not seem as sexy, but the theme parks are oozing with opportunity, with money, with what's good for it. SeaWorld is, I didn't know this. SeaWorld has bounced back like crazy from the pandemic. They're doing really well for themselves, or well for themselves. Blackfish really ruined them.
That was tough. I happened to work there. Well, we were both there.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. During the when Blackfish came out.
I was there after. Were you there right before the documentary? Did you notice a huge difference?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Like we would get done with we would do shows on what they would call show dumps. So if like the Shamu show ended, we had our percussion show right outside of where they would release everybody.
Yeah.
And when we released them, huge crowds. I mean, it was really cool. And then after Blackfish, it was like not so huge. I mean, I'm going to make up numbers, but like if it was 200 guests watching our show, after being released from that show, maybe after Blackfish, it would be like 55.
Wow.
You know, like,
that's a noticeable difference.
and
Noticeable.
people campaigning outside of the park entrance, picket signs trying to, you know, shut down the park and stuff. So it definitely took a toll, you know, from my perspective as a performer. Like I saw the park numbers change. I don't know if that's only because of Blackfish. I mean, maybe not, but it definitely felt that way.
It did. It was a weird thing because I remember going there to work and seeing protesters out front.
Yep.
I remember thinking like, only me and somebody who works at the State Department in Lebanon knows what this feels like. Oh man. Oh, that's so funny. I have a couple more. We're kind of running out of time, but I'll let you choose. Do you want to talk about Alec Baldwin and his case, or do you want to talk about the new Eminem album?
I don't really have context for either.
Perfect.
I've seen Alec Baldwin. Like I think I know it was the movie called Rust.
Yep.
And it was very controversial because he had a prop gun that was mistakenly loaded with real ammunition. He shot the gun and then ended up killing that person.
Yep.
And
that's
then
exactly right.
He's I don't know, acquitted.
No, he got tried. So yes, so he got tried for involuntary manslaughter. Is that right?
Yeah,
I said that right, Leon? Involuntary manslaughter, which 3 years in prison. I didn't think that was that bad. 3 years in prison.
Where do you? I don't. I mean, that's not. Is it his fault?
Is it his fault? Oh, sorry, I was just trying to see the sentencing.
Involuntary.
I was like, what? That's like 18 months. Whatever.
3 years is a long time to go to
I
prison.
got it. I can do it. Anyway,
We're gonna put
so
that. We'll put that to the test.
So check this out. So this is really the reason I chose this. I thought this is so weird because yes, you got all the details of the right, most of the details right of the story. He was on set, Rust. He was also producer on it, so he had a little bit more ownership, accountability, responsibility for the set. Right. He goes in for a rehearsal. He gets handed a prop gun. He fires the gun, kills the camera operator. Right, injures the director. The armorer, who is the person in charge of set to look at props and to take care of those props, is also doing double duty. She's always doing props. She just got sentenced guilty. I think she's doing 18 months in prison, but they're going to appeal it, right? But this is weird. So he gets into court, and they ended up, I think the term is acquitting. I'm not a lawyer at all, but I may not be a lawyer, but the reason why they dropped the charges and they threw it out, the judge threw it out, is because the prosecutors presented evidence on the case that they never disclosed to the defense, which I thought, not being a lawyer, is insane. Like even I know, like, hold on, you got to show everybody your cards, right? Like we're playing, right? But they showed up and they said that here's some bullets that we found. And the judge goes and looks at the bullets in this manila envelope and goes, and the defense is like, we never even saw those bullets. Like, yeah, these are the bullets that were on set. And the FBI is like, what? Everyone's just so confused. It seems weird, right? Like tampered with a little bit with the evidence or something. And so it was a whole long drawn out dramatic trial where one of the prosecutors ends up resigning during the trial, like that day. This was Friday. And then like the judge is like, we can't do anything with it. Throws it out immediately. Weird, right?
Yeah.
You can't, it just feels like
that's a whole nother
is someone trying to set up Alec? Like what is going on?
I thought I had a hot take on it, but I guess I don't.
What you think Alec was claiming that he didn't pull the trigger.
That's crazy talk.
The FBI was like, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
Not to make light of a tragedy.
No.
But I look at it and I'm like, it's his job he's hired to come in and pull the trigger because that's the action that's required of the scene.
Uh-huh.
The person who's doing props, so whoever's in charge of prop safety, whatever that role is.
Sure.
Like, okay, you have a responsibility. Like that's what you're paid. You're paid to have that responsibility. So if you're gonna put involuntary manslaughter on a person, I suppose if it was, in my opinion, it would be you put it on the person whose responsibility it is to check and maintain those things.
Right.
So I thought Alec was like, I don't even know what he was doing there.
Yeah, it felt weird to kind of blame Alec for it, although he was the one who did pull the trigger, you know, because it's someone's responsibility. As someone who's been on set with the firearms and worked with them, I mean, everybody's there and everybody is supposed to take a look at it and check it. And it's like multiple people have to come in contact. And when we talk to Ben Rowe, hopefully next week, he's a stuntman in Hollywood. We get a little bit more context of what that's supposed to look like, you know? But yeah, this guy is going to live with this scar of this entire circumstance for the rest of his life. Like this is something that, I mean, he's going to have to live with, which is awful. I mean, the person he killed was a mother. Had kids. I know.
It's just awful.
I know. I don't mean to leave off on a grim. I feel like we darkened down. Yes. In other news, Russell Simmons passed away. Come on, 78. Damn it. No, Eminem album's great. You should listen to it. I know you haven't listened to it, but
I haven't yet. Yeah, I had a couple people recommended it. Big Eminem fan over here,
dude.
I just haven't taken the time to sit down and go through the record.
You're gonna love it. It's very Eminem. If that makes any content, if that sees it for you.
This feels old school Eminem.
Super old school Eminem. It's kind of I wrote it on there, but someone reviewed it and said like it's hard. If you didn't grow up with Eminem and you listen to him now, you're just his vulgarity. Is that the way to say that? His vulgarity.
Yeah.
Is pretty intense. And we've always known from him in South Park, I mean, he's always been that way. And
that's the expectation.
That's the expectation,
and
right?
People are usually, I've been disappointed when he hasn't been as rustic
sure.
as he was when he was younger.
And so what I was going to say was, you gave me a great idea. Eminem. He, so there's a couple themes in the album. One of them is getting canceled, which I thought was interesting that he would bring that up because you would think Eminem would be a great candidate to be canceled, but he's almost uncancelable, like cancelable. Cancelable.
Yeah.
Uncancelable like South Park because he came up at a time and that was his shtick, his thing, and he did that for decades. And to now look at him and be like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
It's like the man built a whole career. They literally put the parental advisory on Nancy Reagan did that, right, Leon?
What are you talking about?
Eminem put the parental advisory stickers.
No. It was way before him.
It was way before him? I thought it was him.
It was NWA.
It was NWA.
And they were using like the little steam rollers, those little asphalt rollers to roll over them and stuff like
shit.
that. Yeah. But they bought them though.
Really?
Yeah.
Well.
So it was like them, I believe it was them and I believe Luke, like Two Life Crew and them. I think it was.
They were the reasons why they have parental advisory.
Mm-hmm. What are some other artists that push the envelope so much that they like are exempt from cancel culture?
Well, South Park.
Okay, South Park, Eminem. Is Dave Chappelle on that?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle?
Mm-hmm. Dave Chappelle's on that. But yeah, just so when you listen to it, so there's that theme. He also keeps coming back with Christopher Reeves, which I'm like, leave it alone. He just kept roasting Christopher Reeves. I was like, guy had a miserable life, you know, leave the guy alone. But overall, it's pretty sick. Yeah.
I'll dig into that.
Yeah, you will. Then I want to hear what you think about it next time you come on.
Speaking of Eminem, like I think it was the Relapse album. Had some really good beats on there. Really good beats. But you couldn't bump it because of what he was talking about. Like, I'm dead serious.
Yeah. Right.
There's a song called Same Song and Dance. And he's talking about, like, I think this lady, don't get me wrong, I think the lady was having car trouble. And I think he's pretending to help her. And then he's going to end up, he's like going to put her in the trunk and everything. And I'm like,
yep.
But the beat.
You can't play that.
No,
when you get to the family reunion.
No, and then with the song 3 a.m. and all that shit.
Yeah. Dude, there's more of that on this album.
You can't play that out loud, man, but the beats are cold.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, I wrote down one of the lyrics that he said today because I wanted to read it because it was so intense.
Are you going to put us on cancel culture right now?
No. You're not going to get canceled. This just goes to where he's at, where he goes with Ben Affleck, me, and Seth hanging on to the left wing of Jeffrey Epstein jet screaming, "Hey, don't forget me." right? It's like he's going at it, and it's intense, and that's like the only part I convinced myself that I could read on this podcast without it getting flagged. But yeah, no, it's really good. The best song is this song "Hands with Jelly Roll." It's the last song on the album, and it's so good.
It just makes me feel like what a great experience it must be to not care and just to do your art the way that you want to do it. And I don't want to say not have to deal with the consequences, because he will, whatever, you know.
He talks
I'm
about
sure
that
there's
too.
backlash.
Yeah.
But just to do it anyway, because that's the way that you see the art. Like, that's got to be just a really cool experience, specifically maybe when you're on the level of notoriety that he's on.
You know what?
Must feel great.
You bring up such a good point, because that's in the album.
Really?
Yep. And I'm going to re-listen to it with that in mind.
Mr.
100%.
Mathers, call me and we can talk. And
Yeah.
It is funny seeing him, like, you know, he's definitely fucking dying his hair. You know, he's got to have some gray.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's so
It's so
funny.
crazy because,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's just like, I know y'all seen the black guys, like, when they get, like, the little Beijing, the
Uh-huh.
little coloring and stuff.
Yeah.
It's an unnatural black, so it looks artificial.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what it looks like with Eminem. It just looks like it's
It
like
does.
he's definitely dying that whole thing, you know?
It's so funny. Yeah.
Well, let's get him on the podcast.
We'll see if we can.
Yeah, Eminem, if you're listening, we got an open seat right here.
Yeah.
Come talk to us about your art.
Yeah. I won't bring up Kim. I promise. Well, on that note, fellas,
Is that everything?
I got everything out that I want to get out.
Cool. That's good to be back.
It's good to be back, baby.
And this was fun.
Yes, it was. Like Rick Moranis getting punched in the face. We're back.
So, for the record, how do y'all feel about the headphones?
Are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still going.
I like them.
Actually, I settled into
It's
it pretty
not
good.
bad, right?
Yeah.
And it does make you kind of,
Yeah, for sure.
because if you're back here, you're like,
Oh
I'm
my
not talking loud
gosh.
enough and I need to come through.
The only thing I don't like, and I don't think it has anything to do with the headphones, is like every time this happened, it was real. That actually,
yes.
I was
Son
not
of a
messing
bitch.
around.
Thing is-
Yeah,
Just trying
But the
to
thing
cut
is,
me
though,
off.
that happens
on the other ones. Yeah.
on the other ones, but y'all don't hear it.
Now we can make bits.
I'm like conscious of my laugh now.
I would
have
like-
to laugh about out here.
I think a great move is going to be to do a compilation of every time that happened. Like,
Yeah. So far, we have enough for just the one episode we did.
yeah.
All right, I'm good. Let's get out of here. Come on.